Wisconsin Eye is at the Waukesha Public Library. We're interviewing the 4 Republican candidates in Assembly District 99. The primary is September 1, and the winner of that primary will be the next member of the Assembly from Assembly District 99. We're interviewing Cindi Duchow of Pewaukee. Cindi, welcome to Wisconsin Eye.
Thank you.
Well, is this your first run for state office, right?
Yes, it is.
Well, give us a short version of your bio, and I understand you hold a local office now. So
I do. Been born and raised here in the 99th Assembly District. Went to school in Madison, where I graduated a degree there in retailing. I left there and went to work for several large retailers and a fashion house in New York for Liz Claiborne. Then, when we had our children, my husband and I made a decision that it was best that I stay home with our kids. It was a tough decision, but I think there's nothing more important than raising your children. And we sacrificed a lot to do it. And that's where I got involved in our family business, very involved in the community. I've been a constant volunteer at schools, raising money, which we're always raising money at schools.
Yes.
And at our local charities that I've been working for. Then I was getting some push to run for some political offices, a lot for school board, which at the time just wasn't seem to work out for me. So I ran for the town board in Delafield, which I've been elected to twice. And we have the lowest taxes in the county in Waukesha County. So I have to always give us a little plug for that.
And you've been on the town board for how long?
3.5 years.
3.5 years. Well, Act 10 passed, of course, in 2011. Impact of Act 10 on your local town government?
Not really any impact on our local town government. It was on our schools,
okay,
but not on our town government.
Okay. And the nature of you and your husband's business?
We're in the boat business.
In the boat business?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, let's talk about some issues pending issues. Transportation funding. We're borrowing in the last year, more than $900 million borrowing. We're going to borrow at least $500, potentially more in the current state budget. Any ideas on permanent solutions to pay for highways and all the other transportation needs?
Well, I think that we need to prioritize and budget correctly. The amount of roads really haven't changed that much in the state, yet we're spending that much more. So I think we need to set a budget, we need to stick to a budget, and those should be fixed expenses. And when we come up with a project such as the zoo at Interchange, that's a once in every 50 or 100 year project. That maybe we take a bond out on and we borrow for that, but our day-to-day road expenditures should be fixed. We do that in the town of Delafield. We've got a budget every year. Every 17 years we redo your road. When we get to your 17th year, if your road doesn't need to be done, we may wait another year. But we plan ahead, we have a budget, and we stick to it, and I think that's what we need to do at the state level also.
Would you consider raising either the gas tax or the $75 vehicle registration fee that you and I pay?
Once we raise a tax, we never take it off, so I don't want to add any more taxes.
The Wisconsin Department of Transportation says we're falling behind in some of these maintenance schedules that you just talked about on a town basis. Do you think Wisconsin has set its sights on too much highway building with expanding the interstate from Madison to Illinois and the zoo interchange? Have we got our eyes too big in terms of highway construction?
I don't know that it's too big because we are a manufacturing state, and to do that, we need to have good infrastructure. We need to have good roads. And that's important. It's important to grow businesses. People don't want to put a business here if they don't have good roads to move their products around. So again, I think it's just a matter of budgeting and are we spending money correctly? And I think that the local communities do a really good job of taking care of their roads and staying in budget because we have to answer directly to the taxpayer.
Okay. There's a study group in the Assembly that is looking at whether there could be some savings if you merge the UW colleges, our 13 UW colleges and the 16 tech colleges. Do you think there might be some savings there? Should that be pursued?
I think they definitely should look at it. As of right now, our 2-year colleges have just made a change in their administration, and they've gotten rid of all their deans and have an associate deans in there. I think we are heavy in administration in both the technical schools and the 2-year schools. And I think we're overlapping in some of the classes and things that we're offering. I think they're a great partner to work hand in hand together, and I think it would be a wonderful merger, but they need to do a little research into that.
Do you think it could save property tax money? You're interested in pursuing it because our two systems now there's some overlap in services, or do you see it as a savings in taxes?
I see it as both. I think we definitely have some overlap in services. I think we're kind of heavy in administration in both of those, and I think that could help our property taxes.
Okay. One of the issues that's going to be up in the fall session, which starts on September 15th, is I think that, let me get the bill number, 305. It would make it a felony to sell or use fetal body parts derived from an unborn child aborted by an induced abortion. Would you support that?
Absolutely.
Why?
I don't think we should be selling body parts.
Okay.
I don't know why it's even a conversation. It just shouldn't be happening. It's wrong.
One bill the governor recently signed into law banned abortion after 20 weeks. Would you have voted for that one too?
Yes.
Okay, same.
Same thing. It's just, it's a human life, yeah.
Okay. There's also going to be bills to reform the Government Accountability Board, which was created, let me get it right, 2007, went into effect in 2008. Some Republican leaders in the Capitol say it's not played fair in terms of the partisan decisions. Your position? Do we need something to replace the GAB?
We need to have something. I mean, every state does have something that overlooks elections, and we need something. The current system, in my opinion, also is not working. And what's wrong with maybe having an elected position with term limits? And I think that it could be elected, it could be appointed, but there should be term limits to it, and not necessarily someone who's retired. I don't know that that's a calling for that.
Do you know enough about the old elections board and the old ethics board to know whether we should go back to that model?
No, I don't.
Okay. But there should be a cop on the beat in terms of campaign finance.
Absolutely. We need someone to oversee elections, and that has to, and to make sure they're fair. And now we have voter ID. We need to make sure that that's actually being enforced. So we do need someone in charge. The system, to me, seems to lean a little bit to the left right now, and I think that there's not everyone in the group is making some decisions. We recently had a ballot change that I don't agree with and how it looks. So I'd like to see those positions elected.
Part of this discussion, and there's actually 3 bills in the Capitol on related issues. Part of it is changes to the John Doe laws. Now, those will also be considered in the fall session. Do you know anything about those proposed changes?
No, I do not.
Okay. And the third issue, campaign finance in the wake of Citizens United is kind of anything goes, the Wild West out there. Any thoughts on whether we should change our campaign finance laws?
I think that your money is your free speech, and I think that you have the right to endorse who you want. I think you have the right to, as a third party, go out and put up a billboard for somebody that I want. And I think that's all legal and fine. I do think we should report it, and I think we should know who is donating money. And right now, I don't think that the laws are that cumbersome.
Okay. Every budget, the Democrats offer a plan. Let's take the federal money and expand Medicaid, which, now 1 in 5 Wisconsin residents get their health care, all or in part through Medicaid, arguing that the federal government would pay for an expansion of Medicaid. What's your position on that?
The federal government does not pay all of it. It pays part of it. The state pays the rest. And long term, it's a very, very big expense. Some states that have already done this are rethinking that because it is a bigger expense than they realize long term. And even if it's the federal government, it's still our tax money. It's not coming from nowhere, so it's still taxpayer money. So I would not vote in favor of that.
Your thoughts on changes to the overall healthcare system? The governor, as a presidential candidate, recently offered a proposal. What are your thoughts on healthcare and potential changes?
I've not read Scott Walker's proposal, so I can't speak to that. I am not for socialized medicine. I like the free market. I'd like to be able to go out and shop for an MRI or whatever procedure you need. And I don't think that the government should be doling it out because I don't think that what they're doing right now is going to work.
One of the most controversial issues in the last month has been the vote for the new Milwaukee Bucks arena. $500 million projected cost, $250 from public dollars. Mm-hmm. Would you have voted for that?
I would have. I'm not happy with what Milwaukee put up. They're going to benefit the most from this. I think they could have put more into it. I think the owners could have put a whole lot more into it, but we could not lose the Bucks. And that's not an emotional comment about basketball. But financially, there's new TV contracts coming in where the players are going to make that much more money starting in 2017, and then that money will go to us when they're here. So financially, I think we needed to keep them. I would have liked to see the owners pay some more.
Okay, but you would have voted for it?
I would have voted for it.
Okay. As you meet with residents in the 99th Assembly District, what have you learned about the district, and what do they tell you are there some of their top issues?
Taxes. I hear about taxes quite a bit. Overall, they are very happy with our schools, which we have got great schools in our district. We're really blessed there. But taxes is their biggest thing. And the other thing that they've discussed a lot is the job skill gap. Not everybody goes to a four-year college. And we're doing things locally in our high schools where kids are getting trained or getting a taste of something that they might want to go into while they're in high school, so that they could go to a two-year school or a four-year or two-year technical school versus going to a four-year college. And that would help really close that skills gap we have.
An issue when you talk about K-12 schools is whether we should continue to expand the voucher and choice program. Do you think we should continue it?
You know, I think competition is good. I think our public schools welcome the competition. I think some of the funding needs to be tweaked a little bit and how that's handled. But the voucher schools, I think, were not necessarily meant for District 99. Mm-hmm. We've got great public schools. So are you looking to go somewhere else with a voucher? It's probably not affecting our schools that much. I think that was more for, it started in Milwaukee. I think that was a bigger issue there than it is here.
When you're asked why are you running, is there any one central issue? Is there any other issue that's a central part of your campaign that I haven't asked about?
You know, I'm running, I keep saying I do this for my kids. I want to leave this better. I want to leave the world better than I found it. I want to give my kids more opportunities. I want my kids to come back and live in Wisconsin. I don't want them living on the East Coast or the West Coast. I want my kids here. And to do that, we need to have more jobs. They need to have more opportunities. And to create jobs, we've got to get rid of the taxes, help our businesses grow. And this is a great place to live. And I want our kids to have better opportunities here and not somewhere else.
And finally, I want to give you a chance to contrast any differences you have with your three opponents on September 1.
You know, I'd say the biggest thing is I'm the only one in the race who's actually been born and raised here. I have small business experience, and I've been elected twice. And the experience I've had on the town board in Delafield has been unmeasurable. You know, we are the lowest tax rate in the county for a reason. We work really hard at that. We don't like to spend other people's money. We have long discussions and arguments over anything on our budget to make sure we're not spending other people's money unwisely. And I think that's a very big difference.
So you've been able to keep property taxes in control in the town of Delafield?
It's not surprising. It's our town tax. Yes.
Yes.
Right. Yes,
so
we have.
Should property taxes controlling property taxes be a central goal of yours going on into the future, statewide if you're in the assembly?
But I think income tax is more important. Your property tax is really a fixed amount, and your income tax increases with every dollar you earn. So the biggest thing we can do to help our businesses, and a lot of them are small businesses, so they're S Corps and LLCs, so that income flows right down to their bottom line, is to control that income tax.
Very good. Cindi Duchow of Pewaukee is one of 4 Republican candidates in the September 1 primary in Assembly District 99. Cindi, thanks for talking to Wisconsin Eye.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.